Namaste. Welcome to today's yoga practice. We're going to start in Sukhasana. Taking a deep breath in, fully exhaling. We're going to spend a moment feeling the sitting bones on the ground. Then turn the focus of our attention to the tip of our nose, feeling the cool air entering the nostrils, feeling the warm air exiting the nostrils. And we're going to slowly put our palms on the ground. Reach as far as comfortable and sink our head in between our shoulders. And we're going to stay here for at least 10 breaths, doing nothing, letting the gravity do the work for us. Try to consciously relax your shoulders here. Feel your breath becoming ocean breath as your throat begins to make this whooshing sound. Feel your lower back getting longer. Let your face get as close to the ground as it wants to today. And we're going to come up and take a breath. And just stay still for a moment. Doing nothing. Keeping breathing. Again, feeling our sitting bones on the ground. And we're going to move our hands to the back, support ourselves with our hands, and give the back a slight back bend by getting the buttocks off the ground, hanging there for a couple of breaths. And sitting back down. And from here, we're going to start putting our feet into the butterfly. Soles of the feet together. And making sure that our knees just naturally fall apart. Just get settled in this pose for a second. And then to deepen the stretch, you can start flapping your wings a little bit by pulsing your knees up and down. Looking for the feeling of warmth in your hip joints. And how's everyone's back feeling today? Good? Great. So then we're going to attempt the actual butterfly bend. Don't go too deep too fast. We're just gonna start bending our elbows and sinking down low. Don't reach far. Just sink as low as you can. And we're gonna spend at least 10 breaths here as well. Feeling the hips opening. You want to assist your body sinking deeper into the pose by consciously relaxing your shoulders here. A few more breaths. And we're gonna slowly come up. Take a breath here. Stay still for a second. And from here, we're going to start extending our legs forward. Coming into the staff pose. Making sure that we're on our sitting bones and that our heels are dug in the ground. And from here, we're going to put our hands parallel to our legs and just sink low. Again, for starters, do not reach far. You just want to get your face as close to your knees as possible, but don't rush. Gravity is going to do the work for you eventually. We're going to stay here for at least 10 breaths as well. And after we've done our 10 breaths, we're going to actually start reaching forward toward the comfortable spot on your legs or on your feet. We're going to grab our toes or our ankles. And from here, we're going to start sinking forward and down again. And as we're going deeper into the pose, I invite you to notice the whole back side of your body getting longer. With your mind's eye, you can trace the back side of your legs, your lower back, your mid back, your shoulders, your arms, all the way to your hands. Couple more breaths here. And we're going to gently let go. Come back to the staff pose. Put our hands behind ourselves again. Fingers facing backward. And do a quick counter pose here. Go into the reverse plank. Just to give our back a chance to bend in other direction. Just a couple of breaths. And we can go back on the ground into the staff. And from the staff, we're going to start spreading our legs and feet as wide apart as we comfortably can. And from here, we're going to dig our heels in the ground again and start gently patting our legs in search for the farthest comfortable point. We're going to get there, grab our ankles or our toes, and here you have two options if you want to make it relaxing. You can just start sinking low again. If you want to make it more of a workout, look ahead. Do whatever your body feels like it needs to do right now. And we're going to stay here for 10 breaths again. And after we're done with our breaths, we're just going to come up very slowly and start bending one of our legs. Dig the heel into the groin. And from here, we're going to turn our torso toward the leg that remains straight. And we are going to reach far again. Grab the ankle or the toes with both of our hands. Spend as much time as you need settling into this pose. And from here, we're going to spend several breaths listening to the whooshing sound of the ocean breath that's probably naturally coming out of your throat right now. We're going to watch our body sinking lower into the pose. And before coming out of the pose, we're going to do the 3 locks. Let's do the root lock first. We're going to pull our whole pelvic floor up and slightly backwards. Hold it and release. Next, we're going to do the middle lock. We're going to suck our stomach in, pulling our diaphragm up and slightly backwards. Hold it and release. And the chin lock comes next. We're just going to sink our chin deeper into our chest and slightly engage the neck muscles. Don't strain, please. We're going to hold that and release. And now we're going to do all of the 3 locks in sequence without releasing the previous one. Let's do the root, pelvic floor up and slightly backwards. Hold that while sucking your stomach in. Hold that one as well. And now tuck your chin into your chest while engaging your neck muscles. And let's try to hold that for slightly longer. And now we're going to release and let go of our toes or our ankles. Slowly come back up and stay still for a moment. And now, if you'd like, you can pay attention to the sensations in your torso, because we've just engaged some of the very deep muscles. And now that they're disengaged, See if you can notice some looseness in your core. That is very soothing. And from here, we're going to start turning our torso toward our bent leg, getting into the pigeon, standing on the knee that becomes the front knee, fully extending the back leg. Spend as much time as you need settling into the pigeon. And from here on, we're going to stop holding the pigeon. Stop holding the pose actively and watch what happens. And most likely, your body starts slowly rolling to the side of your bent front leg. Don't interrupt this process, just let your hip open naturally until you're seated on the buttock on the side of your bent leg. And we're gonna settle in here and get down on our forearms. Get our face close to the knee. And just spend 10 relaxing breaths here. And by now you're probably feeling some warm sensations in your front hip. Let's build on that. Come back onto our palms and swing our body back, bending our back knee so that we can stand on that knee. And straighten our front leg, coming into the monkey pose. In the monkey, again, you have two options. You can stay like this, or you can start sliding your back knee to the back to open your legs wider. Your choice. But what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna spend some time in the monkey, feeling our front leg opening. Again, listening to the sound of your breath. And once you're done with your 10 breaths here, we're going to start bending our front leg and adjusting the position of our palms on the mat to come into the dragon. You'll probably notice your back knee sliding more toward the back. If you feel the need to pull it back toward your torso, by all means do that. Otherwise, just let the gravity do the work here. And again, keep breathing. And once you're done with your 10 breaths, we're going to swing our body slightly back so that our back knee supports us. And get down on our forearms to even deepen the stretch. It might help to roll your front foot onto the outer side of the sole so that your knee points slightly sideways. And we're going to spend 10 breaths here in the low lying dragon as well. And once you're done with your 10 breaths here, we're going to come back onto the palms of our hands. And we're going to start turning our torso toward the center. Keep our front leg, our former front leg straight. And sit on our heel. And sitting on our heel, we're going to find a good position for the foot of the straight leg. For some people, it's the heel. For some people, it's the inner sole. Just find the one that you like most. And once you're done settling in, we're going to get down on our forearms again and give our hip a chance to open in that direction as well. And once you're done with your 10 breaths, we're going to come back onto our palms and from that onto our hands and knees. And to release the tension, we're just going to roll our buttocks from side to side. Try to make big, smooth motions here so that the tension leaves your inner leg muscles. Let's give it a couple more movements on each side. And from our hands and knees, we're going to start extending to the side the one leg that we have not extended to the side yet. And sit on the opposite heel. Find a good position for our foot. And it might be a different position than you had with your other foot. So experiment. And after we're settled, we're going to come down on our forearms and stay here for a second. Here you can focus your attention on the sensations in your thigh. Or you can choose not to focus your attention on your thigh and instead get your face as close to the knee as possible and just enjoy the comfort of that position. And I'm done with my 10 breaths here. So I'm going to come back onto my palms and start turning my torso sideways toward my straight leg. Shift my weight onto my back knee for a second and settle into the monkey on this side as well. Let my leg open completely. You can close your eyes here and just watch how your front knee gets closer and closer to the ground with each and every breath. And once you're done with your 10, start very gently bending your front leg and adjusting the position of your palms on the mat so that you can come into the dragon. I'm going to probably slide my back knee slightly more backwards to deepen the stretch, but you don't have to. And we're going to spend 10 breaths in the dragon as well. Here you can choose to focus your attention on the sensation in your back hip or in your front hip. Both of them are opening very nicely right now. And after we're done with our 10 breaths here, we're just going to get down on our forearms into the low flying dragon. You can even deepen the low flying dragon by rolling your front foot onto the outer sole so that your knee points sideways, but you don't have to. And once you're done with your 10 breaths, we can come back onto our palms and start shuffling all over the mat, switching our weight to our back knee. And from here, we're going to be super graceful in coming into the pigeon. Your back leg extended, your front knee bent. Just spend as much time as you need to settle in the pigeon. And once you're settled, it's time to stop holding the pose and let your body gently roll in the direction of your front knee. Gently opening your hip. And once you're settled on the outer hip, we can go down on our forearms again, get our face close to the front knee, and just start breathing here in this very comfy, cozy pose. And once you're done with your 10 breaths here, we're gonna come up and supporting ourselves with our hands. We're gonna keep the bent leg bent. Gonna keep the straight leg straight, but return to the half straddle here. Sitting on our sitting bones, get all settled in. Dig the heel of our straight leg into the ground. And start gently patting our straight leg in search for the farthest comfortable point where we're going to hold our ankle or our toes. And just start breathing here. Take several breaths. Feel the body sinking lower, the face coming closer to the knee. Another couple of breaths. And we're going to do the 3 locks here again. So the root lock first. Let's pull our pelvic floor upwards and slightly backwards. Hold it and release. Next, we're going to do the middle lock. Suck our stomach in, pulling our diaphragm upwards and slightly backwards. Hold it and release. And the last one is the chin lock. Tuck our chin into the chest and slightly engage the neck muscles. Don't strain. Hold and release. And now we're going to do all the 3 locks in sequence without releasing the previous one. So let's do the root lock, pelvic floor up, middle lock, stomach in, diaphragm up, and the chin lock, chin in the chest, neck muscles engaged, and hold them, and release. And as you're releasing your locks, just start gently coming up. And we're going to spend a moment here completely motionless. Just breathing, just noticing the pleasant looseness in the deeper muscles of our body. And then we're going to start bending our straight leg and coming into the rock pose. Sitting on our heels, we're going to spend some time settling here because you do want to find a good position for your ankles so that nothing is tight. We're going to do an ankle stretch first. Hands to the back, fingers forward. Lift your knees. You can do that as a dynamic pose by rocking up and down. Or you can do it as a static pose. Just lift them and hold. Do whatever feels good. You can even add the element of balance to the pose by putting your hands on your belly or anywhere really so that you're not supported by them. We're gonna hold this or keep rocking if you're rocking for another second. And come back into the rock pose. And from the rock pose, we're going to recheck our position for stability. So if you slid off your ankles, come back to the comfortable position. And from here, we're going to support ourselves with our hands towards the back, fingers forward. And start getting into the reclined hero on both of our elbows. And we're going to look up, let our neck relax. If you want to, you can start gently sliding your elbows forward and just get completely on the ground with the back of your hand to deepen the stretch for your thighs, but you don't have to. You can just hang around on your elbows. We're going to stay here for several more breaths. And once you're done here, we're just going to come up back to the rock pose. And from the rock pose, swing our body to the front to come to our hands and knees. Find a good position on your hands and knees. And because your ankles were working overtime, we're just going to gently pat our feet and our lower legs on the mat. You can even roll your ankles from side to side here to restore the looseness. And once your ankles feel better, we're just gonna sway our buttocks toward our heels and come into the child pose, trying to get our forehead on the mat. And here, what you would want to do, you would absolutely want to consciously relax your shoulders. So that most of the surface of your arms is in the contact with the mat. And we're going to stay for 10 breaths here as well. And once you're done with your 10 breaths here, we're not going to come out of the child pose just yet. We're just going to start pulling our hands closer to us and come into the baby pose by putting our arms parallel to our legs, palms up or palms toward your ankles, whatever feels more comfortable. So we're going to get all scrunched up here in the baby pose, make ourselves as small and cozy as we can, and spend some time here as well. Once you're settled into this pose, again, consciously relax your shoulders. You'll see them rolling forward. That's what they need to do here. As you're breathing, feel your delts relaxing. A few more breaths. And we're going to start slowly coming up. Back into the rock pose. Stay here. Linger here for a second. Take a breath. Let the blood return from our head to the rest of the body. And from here, we're just going to come back first to the staff pose. And from the staff, we're just going to lie down on our back. Make sure that both of the shoulder blades are touching the ground, that the spine is relatively aligned. And we're just going to take a couple of restorative breaths here, checking our pose for stability and for how straight you have made yourself. And from here, once you are all settled in, we're going to bend our legs and grab our knees with each hand and pull our knees close to the chest so that your sacrum begins floating above the mat. Just give yourself some breaths to settle into this pose. And once you're done, let go of your knees, grab your toes, and come to the happy baby, the ultimate floating hip opener, so that the soles of your feet point to the sky. And we're going to spend some time here feeling our hips opening wider, feeling our knees sinking closer to the ground. A few more breaths. And we're going to let go of our toes and come back to the position on our back. Put our arms parallel to the body. Bend the right knee. Swing the right leg over the left leg. And turn on the left side. From here, you have a couple of options to deepen the twist. You can spread your arms wide and turn your head to the right in the opposite direction. And you have a couple of options here as well. You can actively hold the pose, or you can not hold the pose and let your body slowly roll back onto the full back. But let's spend 10 breaths here as well. As you're breathing in the pose, you can actually trace with your mind's eye your whole spine all the way from the tailbone through the sacrum, through the lumbar region, through the chest region, and into the neck. And notice that delicious twist. Couple more breaths, and we're gonna do it on the other side. Straighten the bent leg, bend the straight leg, turn the body toward the right, and look left. And just start breathing. Again, tracing the spine with the mind's eye. This time around, you can choose to go from up to down. And notice your chest. Your waist area, your lumbar region. Your sacrum. And all the way down to the tailbone. A few more breaths. And we're gonna come back to the center. With our legs back to being straight. And we haven't done much in terms of shoulder work today, so let's remedy that. Extend your arms above and reach. Just keep stretching your arms, reach farther and farther. And now slowly to your sides. And as you do, try to reach far again. Palms up or palms down, however is comfortable. Couple more breaths here. We're going to move our arms parallel to the body first, and then cross them at the chest. You don't need to keep your arms straight here. And just stay like that for a second. Several breaths. And after that, we can just put our arms back parallel to our body. Let our legs relax so that we can come into Shavasana. Let the soles of our feet open. Traditional Shavasana asks you for palms up, but you don't have to. Just try to completely relax every single muscle in your body. And get rested. Continue listening to what's going on, accepting everything, rejecting nothing. Be at peace.